Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. We have a lot to get into today, and we are joined by the one, the only Rachel Yucatel.
I always think it's so funny when you say the one and the only, because that's how you start every podcast. But I will say hello and thank you for having me.
Whoever is with me that day, I want them to feel special. Or if you're having your wine,
Yes, it's my happy hour right now. So
listen,
let's go. Let's get right to it.
let's get right to it. We have some, major things to get to today. But before we do, I have to say, the number one, last week, I think I called you out, or I called you out at some point about sounding like Bethany. Oh my God. For anyone who hadn't thought that, the DMs went crazy. Everyone was like, it sounds like Bethany. So before we start, can you, Rachel, you could tell, and I'm sorry to do this to you, can you scream as loud as you can, go to sleep?
No, I'm not going to do that. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Can I tell you that I'm up here and you're down here? Can I tell you that?
What does that mean?
Kelly Ben Simone at the Brass Monkey. Remember the Brass Monkey in the meat packing?
Yeah.
She told Bethany that she was up here. She's like, I'm up here. And Bethany, you are down here.
And what did Bethany say?
Listen, it's a line that poor Miss Ben Simone has not like lived down since. I mean, now, Skitty Girl, we have a reality reckoning. People are like, Kelly, well, I don't know about that. Maybe you want to rethink that. I just thought maybe you could scream, go to sleep. That would have made me so happy, Rachel. It would have
I
made
don't
me
even
so
know what
happy.
that is. Is that something she yelled during one of the
From
episodes?
from Scary Island, she said, "Go to sleep."
Okay. Well, I'll
Um,
save that for another time after I've seen it.
where do you want to start today? Where would you like to start?
Well, listen, I think that all of your listeners and viewers would want you to start with what's the elephant in the room about what happened this week, don't you? I know that you maybe don't want to talk about it, but I think it's a good idea to just let's talk about it. Let's you and me talk about it. Are you okay with talking about it, first of all?
Listen, I've got nothing to hide. My not wanting to talk about it isn't like I have anything to hide. It's just like, let me also just say this. I will talk about it because I know you want me to. I will not talk about it past today. So after this, like that's the point of it. Like I just interviewed someone who it's coming up and she was just involved in a major scandal. And she's like, now that I spoke about it, I will never, and I feel the same way. Now, after I speak about this, I will not answer one comment on this. You can leave all the comments you want. I will not answer one comment. That's the point of talking about it. I will not clap back. Like if there's a response to this, I will not then respond to that. So this is it for me. Like I will speak about it and then I will never speak about it again because then it's like tit for tat. He said, she said. The reason I don't want to speak about it, even though I'm going to, is it's beneath me. It's not beneath me like I'm up here and anyone else is down here. It's beneath me in that this is a 7-day-a-week podcast, which existed for 4 years before Kim came on it and will exist for 40 years going forward. So I think people, by the way, there's a small percentage of people, it's the underbelly of the internet, as you know, that is invested in this. The majority of people, I mean, I had Megan King Edmonds on this week. I just spoke to Carlos King, and just off, not Carlos, an interview. The majority of people, I just spoke to a housewife from Dallas, don't even know this exists. So like, I'm not interested in speaking about it because it's really not a thing, even though it's being made out to be a thing. That's the first thing. The second thing is, Luann de Lesseps, Vicky Gumbelson, Tamara Judge, Meredith Marks, Leanne Locken, Marlo Hampton, what's her name? Sheree Whitfield, Sutton Strack. I mean, Craig and Shep and Kyle and Amanda. I can keep going. These are all the people that have been on this podcast times 100. Like, so anyone where there's this clatter, we're not going to listen anymore. And this isn't said with any ego. You say that until I have Juicy Joe back on. You say that until I have the next Bo Dietl on. You say that until I have Kyle Richards on. So with all due respect, you are going to listen. People all the time tell me, I hate you, but I can't help listening. I have to listen to this interview. So The interviews speak for themselves. You're not going to listen. The interviews are going to get you to listen. So I don't want to address it because I feel it diminishes this podcast to 1 day a week, when in reality, you might think you're tuning in for one thing, but the other 6 days are just as popular. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying. I think that's a very interesting reply to everything that's gone on this week. I mean,
interesting.
Listen,
well, what does that word mean?
I'm going to tell you right
Okay.
now, if you let me speak, because I know you're all hot and bothered under there. But listen, here's the thing: you're involved in reality TV stuff. You're involved in all this gossip stuff. I am not. So when you called me and we talked about what was happening, and actually a lot of people started DMing me and saying, do you see what's going on? Do you see what happened with David? You know, blah, blah, blah. I do not get involved in the world of gossip, even though I have a podcast. It's about a totally separate topic, and it's about people who are misunderstood. And I do not get into the gossip of things. I don't even like to. So I did not like hearing what was going on. I will admit that I did go on the All About the Truth. Is that what it's called? All About the Truth podcast. I did listen to what they had to say. I listened to what Kim had to say because I was curious. I didn't even know what this scandal was. I saw the sort of accusations. First of all, in my opinion, this is really dumb. I mean, it sounded like there was a person that was standing up for you and inserted themselves and started making all these, comments, and it got, they went after this other podcast, right? And they kind of went after Kim or whatever. And because of that, then people sort of turned on you, and then Kim came out and said you didn't pay her and all this crazy stuff. People said to me, oh, you're going to be on his podcast. He doesn't pay people. Well, let me start by saying something that you like to say. I sound like her, but what my sister, Bethany, has said before: unless you're in the room where things are happening, you don't know what's happening. So you don't know if David is paying me or not. If I had a problem, I would go to David. Okay. I'm not an idiot. I wouldn't be doing this if I had a problem. So if I want to get paid or if I don't want to get paid, whatever I've worked out with David, I'm on this Patreon. So that's my choice. And for, Kim to say that, she was unhappy because she wasn't paid or she was paid for her cleaner, well, then she should have taken that up with you, is my opinion. And if she wanted to start her own podcast, she got a lot of experience being on yours. She got to learn the tricks of the trade. She got to learn what Patreon was all about. She wouldn't have been able to do it unless it was for you. So, I know she was your friend. So whatever falling out you guys had,